for, let's say, built in a time lapse app. Like I said, it is very niche. The price is pretty reasonable. Now he put the price on the website is Australian dollars. So I did a well, he's in Australia after all, but
Sure.
he will ship everywhere. Um, but it's around $30 US
Okay.
plus shipping and handling. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's a very niche thing, but it is kind of neat to see someone. And you can, if you look at the videos on the site, it's really mind blowing the kind of images you can get out.
Yeah.
I mean, he even got some images of the aurora, or someone did. I don't know if he did because Australia, I think he's too far away. But okay, yeah. Their person on the, and it really makes it a lot easier to get these exposures. And it's not. I asked him. He said, "Okay, so you have like 800 photos. How hard is it to edit it?" And he actually goes and says, well, on the website, he actually shows how to do it full mobile. And further down on the website, it's like, well, if you want to do desktop, you can do it desktop this way also. So again, it's kind of a neat thing that he made on his own.
Mm-hmm.
He programmed, built it. We didn't go into detailed terms of how he did it because we want to make sure he makes the money and someone's not just copying him. I'm assuming it's something like I'm not honestly, I'm not sure, but it's probably a pre-done circuit board, and he's doing more of the programming because, like I said, it's Bluetooth, USB C, but it's just a neat little device.
That's cool. So that is over at that what is that? What's
It's
that
his
website?
names. Yeah, it's Dale Lotherington photography.com/Lumilapse.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. So go check that out. It's a nice little gadget.
Mm-hmm.
And those union tags. I still, by the way, I realize I don't use it as much as I hope. That's me with a lot of things that I get my hands on. But I don't. I don't. I found. Remember the ball, the crystal ball thing
Yes,
for
yes.
photography. It's still in my bag. I've been taking it everywhere with me. Anyways, so that's been our awesome things of the week. Let's see what else we got out there.
Yep, it's the news.
That's right. Anyway, so we got a lot of. Well, wait. First, before the news, I'm sorry. I need a sounder for Patreon. Thank you to everybody that has been supporting the show. I know it's been a weird month for things. Patreon.com/AwesomeCast. Thank you everybody that is supporting the show. I'm glad we got some extra content out for you. And maybe once some time we'll do a little bit of Patreon chatter here too. But anyways, thank you everybody that is still supporting the show. It's Cynthia Klosky, Michael Fedor, John DeGore, and Dave Potter. Yeah.
Bye bye.
God, we can get a use sounder too. I might have to hit up Kid Mental about updating these.
I think I think he may have made one at one
I
time.
think did he? I might have to go look at the thing. Maybe it's in there. Maybe I just didn't get it loaded in here. So in my little soundy board thing on this old iPad. But anyways, thank you everybody that is supporting the show over there. But anyway, so first a little bit of gaming news. I love this stuff. Apparently somebody had made apparently the original Unreal game and Unreal Tournament have been posted to archive.org, which we know archive.org has been dealing with some issues lately about, they were hacked and everything like that. And it's been an issue. I actually saw one of the podcasts I listened to said that's where they archive their video feed. And that's been a problem here lately. But I love that somebody had made an installer that you can go and download, and it will download and install on modern PCs Unreal and the original Unreal Tournament. And according to PC World, that Epic is completely fine with this. Wow. It has officially given the gamers permission to download archive copies of the classic game file and play them. They're not selling it anywhere. It's so old, they're probably not really concerned with it. So, and this is the classic, this was the big competitor to the original Quake, actually, right? It was like when the first person shooters were going full 3D engines and things like that in the PC zone. This was a big pusher for like 3D FX cards and things at the time to push like that 3D stuff. I mean, look at the trailing effects and things on that. Look at the glow to the lights. That was a really big thing. Dynamic light sources, things of that nature. The Unreal tournament, or this is the tournament, of course, but the Unreal first Unreal game, the game was not terribly amazing and memorable, except for like it did have adaptable AIs for the bad guys, and again, just there was a little bit more atmosphere to it, but again, it just seemed really kind of flat. But then they went to the Unreal Tournament, which was more like kind of your first big like deathmatch only kind of games. Okay. So like that was a really big poignant thing for me, like, kind of next to other games like, again, Quake and Quake 2 that were really kind of pushing the envelope at the time. So that's really cool that you're able to go down there, and you're able to kind of pop into that game and things like that. I love stuff like this. I love like good old games, GOG.com. That is a lot of these old games. I went and grabbed a couple on there just because I have box copies of these, and of course they're just absolutely unplayable on anything more recent, right? There's abandoned weird websites, but I love that Epic is just like, this is completely fine. And I remember somebody posted on this is like, please do the same with Unreal Tournament 2004, because that is like the pinnacle for me of 2004 was like the best. Like that's where most of what we love about like deathmatch gaming feels like it came almost directly from that game, right? It was a big revolutionizer for that thing. So definitely very, very cool. So that's PC Gamer. I don't know, Dave. Were you an old Unreal game player or anything? Anything of the era?
I really wasn't much of a PC gamer, to be honest. But it like I said, it is refreshing that, because we all know certain companies will sue you even if you try to use something that they're not making money on anymore. Or they're not even supporting. So it's not, like I said, the big thing is it's nice they're saying, you know what, go for it. We're not going to go after you. It is refreshing. And the same thing with, and I clicked on the link for the good old games. And just, that's also nice too, because it's, I just went through that, and like one of the games I played was SimCity 2000. And man, I hate to say, so cheap. $3.
Yeah.
But it also the fact that, like you said, if you had back in the day, if you wanted to play this game, you couldn't just do it on any PC. You needed, the right card, and it to kind of explain to younger people today, you actually had to look on the box and make sure that your graphics card was listed.
It's so hard to do these days too. I've tried to, because I have an older, like I think it's like a first gen iCore computer, and there's like most games I have in Steam, right? Like I haven't bought Steam games in a while, and I just have a bunch of classic games in there. But but like Street Fighter 5 runs weird, and I picked up things like the Capcom fighting game pack and things like that, and it's so impossible. But like, you need at least this card? I'm like, but the numbers don't make any sense anymore, right? Like, how do I know that this card is greater than this card across these two companies or anything like that? I don't know what the equivalent is. Like, you need a website that helps me interpret these things. Back then, do you have a Voodoo 1, 2, or 3? Do you have a Power VR? Do you have a rendition VR? Wow, I remember these. Also, this is the list of cards that they had, and it wasn't even the chipsets. Like, you had your 3DFX Voodoo, Power VR, eventually the NVIDIA chipset. AMD had Radeon, or maybe pre-Radeon at the time. But they all had a separate thing, and it had to be written before Windows actually modernized this. Like, a lot of it was written directly for that hardware, right?
Right.
So like I can't, we were talking about, because we were playing some games the other day. I have the PlayStation Classic, and it has a Resident Evil Director's Cut, and our friend pro wrestler Keith Todd, also from Top Rope Tabletop, was playing with us and knows all the ins and outs of the different versions of that. And I was like, well, I had the PC version, and I can't even play it because it literally had 6 graphics cards, not just like 3DFX. It had to be, I think I had to have the brands, you know, like you have to make sure you have the Diamond Multimedia blah, blah, blah card. Something weird, crazy like that.
It was so
It was
specific. It was
nuts.
so specific. And
There's
if
no
you,
software mode.
no, no. And if you didn't have a, like the PC I had when I was in college was, it was a decent PC, but it wasn't a gaming PC.
Mm-hmm.
I got it so I could do, you know, write my reports and do stuff in Excel and program in Quick Basic.
Sure.
You know, notice, kids, I did not say go on the internet to do research.
No, that wasn't entirely an option back then, was it?
No, it was not. No,
Mhm,
the only
mhm.
option would have been go to CompuServe or AOL.
Yep. Yep. But no, those were the good old days, I guess, of that set.
Yeah, right.
This is
good old
this
days.
is why I won't dig into like too much of the PC game because I just don't want to deal with it anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just have a console that's good to go and play older games on there or in the cloud or something like that. So that seems like the thing that makes the most sense to me. So
And I mean, it is easier because the PCs are a lot more powerful.
mm-hmm.
So emulation and software can handle things that they couldn't in the past.
Exactly. He caught me mid drink.
Oh, sorry. I just want to make sure we didn't have a hiccup.
No, I just just mid deal. Dave, you shared something that I caught wind of. This is something I caught wind of when I was traveling, so I wasn't able to dig into this. But I did just update my Final Cut Pro, and I understand this is a pretty big deal here. Not only because no longer is it Final Cut, but apparently it's no longer Final Cut Pro X or 10, which has been for over a decade. But now it is Final Cut Pro 11.0. I shouldn't have updated this because I'm mid-project on a lot of stuff. Oh no. But the thing just updates anyways. Not only is it 11, but like this is actually a pretty big, like, okay, visually nothing has changed from what I'm looking at right now, but there's one big change, and I'm glad this is coming because somebody's telling me about how Adobe Premiere was already doing some of this stuff.
Yeah, and well, first of all, if you have Final Cut Pro 10, the upgrade to 11's at no cost.
Hot damn.
And they did not make it subscription. So, you know, everyone, you know, we all know Adobe has this subscription product. If you don't have Final Cut Pro yet, just buy it, and then you have it. And
the concern has been like for the iPad version, it's been a subscription, correct?
Right.
So we were all worried, like, oh, yeah, and we paid again. I paid $300 for this program a decade ago, over a decade ago at this point, right?
Yeah.
So like it makes absolute sense to be here with this. So I think it's grown up very, very well over that decade. But so what's the big features that are kind of come with this? Like what's the big game changer that deserves it going a full version number?
A whole number. So the big one is auto captions. So basically it will, and this is, and I think they didn't mention this article, but this is where I think Apple works across the different products. Because there are other products which have the very similar thing of basically taking audio and producing text from it.
Sure.
So basically you can just transcribe to captions and it's automatic. They even have a couple examples here in the article. And the thing here now, this isn't on an M1 MacBook Pro. So the M1 Max is less powerful than the straight M4 chip now. Because of how quick everything got. But in their example, they took a 16-minute video and it took 11 seconds to make all the captions.
Oh, geez. And that's on an M1 Max, you said?
Yeah, M1 Max.
So, for instance, I'm going to try it.
So a 3-year-old computer did that.
I'm trying to find the... So, do I have to right-click on the video itself?
Yeah, it says select the video in the timeline, right-click, and select transcribe to captions.
Oh, it's not available here. Let's see what
Oh.
happens here.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe because I'm in. You know what? I'm in a. Let me try moving this. Okay, so here we are. So this is some stuff we were working on. We were live with NWA Exodus Pro on the NWA YouTube channel, and we had some videos that they sent me, and I made I make a nice little kind of intro thing, and there's a great documentary situation with this. And this is about this clocks in at about 15 minutes and 20 seconds. So let's see what happens. This is a M1 Pro MacBook Pro. And error downloading language. Make sure you're connected to the internet. That's interesting. So let me keep poking at this a little bit. This is the first I've tried this. I just downloaded it. It's downloading it. So one thing, this is the first time, so I was going to download the transcript model. This is very similar to something I've had to do with Mac Whisper. And typically, I'm kind of exporting these and throwing them in Mac Whisper to get those transcriptions. Well, if you're telling me that I'm going to get it here, you know, like I can get it like before I edit, and it's all just there.
Okay.
Oh, and there it is. Those are captions at the top there. So this is the biggest thing for me because I've been doing this.
That was exceptionally quick.
Yeah, and you know what now you can do? You can go into this index thing, and now you can search your video. Captions. Let's go to captions first. There we go. Let's see. I want him to talk about the NWA. Boom. There he is. There it is talking about the first NWA territory. So William Patrick Corgan owns the NWA. So if I want to, he talked about this term. You can go search that. This has been huge for me when I'm trying to find, like, put together pieces of an interview into a bigger video, right? And I just want, hey, I want this line. I want this line. Maybe I'll take this. I can now export this as a file,
right?
Throw that into ChatGPT and say, tell me what's the most interesting thing about this script. Tell me what's the most interesting takeaway lines, marketing lines that I can take out of this, right? And then you go back, listen back to it, see if it makes sense in context. You know, it gives you a lead to work off of. Man, this takes a whole tool out of. I'm still going to use Whisper, Mac Whisper, because I still could use it for other functions. But this just duplicated a giant thing. When I do fishing without bait, I want to start the process of transcribing before I edit, right? Because because I know I'm not going to edit anything significant out of it. I'm just kind of cleaning it and doing a pass over on it. Right. So I will spit out that raw audio, throw it in Mac Whisper, so that by the time I'm done with that, I have a transcription all ready to go that I can start working on all of my ChatGPT stuff to it. But if you tell me I just had to hit a button here, that transcribed a 15-minute video in seconds after it downloaded the thing. Holy crap! And that was probably all on device. Wow,
it's definitely all on device.
Yeah, that's incredible. That is I am giddy with I have Dave, I literally am looking at like 10 interviews to do tomorrow.
Ooh.
And now I can just spit out transcriptions. Man.
Now it does say additional things. It says one suggestion that the author gave was for editing is to edit the ITT file rather than editing in Final Cut. Maybe I'm thinking it's just easier to deal with than trying to click on the caption.
I think I saw the picture there. That's very similar. It kind of depends on what you need to do. If I just want to drop these out and have them in, it's probably just easier to streamline it that way, and you can do your because we have problems with like SAE or FSAE turns into other words. We've had problems with that when I've had to do closed captions on other interviews, right? Wrestlers' names, even I saw EC3, which is a wrestler. It says EC3 space 3 for some reason, right? And you generally would put that together as part of his brand. So like that is very, very cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing this to my attention and reminding me to update my damn Final Cut, because that is going to be and on the eve of all these interviews I have to take care of tomorrow. Because I would have to process those out, like a WAV file, bring it back in, hope everything sinks in right. But now it's just there, and that's been probably like a year or so ago is when I realized like, oh, if I can transcribe these, and it's gotten so easier and easier as we go, and cheaper, and built in, and all these things. So that's incredible. Is there anything else with Final Cut Pro 11, or just this transcribe button and that's it?
I don't know. I think.
Do we know? I always hit continue and don't read the what's new feed.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think they were going to add some AI features. Okay, let me look real quick here.
Magnetic mask is part of that too. So what is magnetic mask?
So I think the idea is that you're basically, the mask just basically sticks to what you're doing instead of having to deal with like masking individual frames.
Okay. So let's see what is happening here. Is there a magnetic mask button? Show the magnetic mask editor. Let's see what this is. Oh, there's a whole thing. There's a whole other layer.
So saying how you can isolate people and objects without the need for green screen or rotoscoping.
I have to learn this tool apparently.
Yeah.
It pops something up, but I don't know what. I think it's this thing in here. There's okay, so it detached something, but I'm not entirely sure what all it's doing here. So it sounds like a mask tracking, right? So now does that mean that it's going to, like, this guy, like this is an edited thing that where he's going back and forth. It's gonna apply the mask to the shot when it comes back. What is the purview of that?
I think it's supposed to kind of look at and say, okay, this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the thing moves or changes, it's still going to stick on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what it's supposed to do.
Most articles are really kind of honing in on the transcribe feature.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's the one that so many people are right off the bat going to be able to kind of apply. The Apple press release is Final Cut Pro 11. Pro 11,
the magnetic Mac and the transcriber, the two big ones that they're pushing.
Pro 11 brings a new chapter of video editing on the Mac. There you go. There's the Tim Apple line on that one. We're allowed to say that again, right? So,
oh yeah.
AI powered features, yada yada yada. What is this? Is this the magnetic mask thing?
Yeah, it's the magnetic
there you go.
mask,
So it's masking the car and following along with it. I think that's what they're talking about. And then that means you got a smart conform, you got enhanced light and color to automatically improve. You know what? I think I stumbled upon this last night because I was like, oh, enhanced light and color. I applied this to a thing because I was trying to make two wildly different cameras. Just has different tones to it, and I was trying to get them to match up more. So I was like, I wonder what I've never seen this setting before, because I think it updated on my Mac Mini and not my MacBook Pro until right before this. Smooth slow motion, which I feel like they had a version of that before. Voice isolation to enhance speech. I already do a little bit of a voice. There has already been a version of this, but it must be better. Spatial video. Here's the big thing. The 11.
Yeah.
You have spatial video editing for Apple Vision Pro. Spatial. You know what? I'm the one who calls preface the preface. It's with the one client. But anyways, so this is like this. I feel like obviously this is the version for Apple Vision Pro, but there has been like 360 video editing and stuff for things like VR, and you could have plugged in one of the original Oculus VRs into your Mac and previewed your 360 video in the headset, which was always interesting. So, and this is where, and looks like they're just kind of listing stuff that's been in there before. And that's the main thing. People are like, oh, why you do Final Cut Pro? It's just like it's fast, right? There are plenty of reasons to be on other editors, but typically the work that I need to do needs to be relatively fast. All right. And Final Cut's the only way to do it. Otherwise, I'd be losing a lot more sleep over editing this show. I'd be losing a lot more sleep over editing other projects too. I can template things. It's easier to just pull things over. And that always felt like a little bit of a mess in other NLEs that I've done, non-linear editors. That's why I haven't jumped into a lot of them. I try to dip a toe in every once in a while to know what's going on in case there's like, oh no, this has to be this project.
Okay.
So, which
Yeah.
is like, okay, I just need a minute to kind of get with it, and then here we go, right? So, dealt with a little bit of that about a month ago, where I was like trying to figure some stuff out, and it didn't seem to match here, but it also didn't match on their program. It's like, okay, then the footage is the problem. So, but no, it's interesting. Updates also for the Final Cut for iPad is now 2.1. Looks like they got a couple of extra features in there too. Mostly about optimizing for SDR, HDR, and RAW. It looks like enhanced color. I don't know. This might have been still just more marketing speak over here. Yeah, this is all just like, and other features that you probably already know about. I love how it just deteriorates as you go down the thing, right? So, no, thank you, Dave, for pointing that out. So,
And one thing I did want to mention, the reason why I'm saying they may take information or what they learn off of one thing and put it to another.
mm-hmm.
The iPhone call recording that's available, I don't know if it's on all the new on everyone with 18, iOS 18,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's only the newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do call recording, so if you're in the middle of a call and on the upper left there's a little, looks like a waveform, you click on that,
Yep.
it announces that the call is being recorded.
Yes, and it does on both sides, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And I tested this with Ruth. That's how I know this. It will not only record the call, it'll make a transcription of the call
Mm-hmm.
and put it in notes. So if you, let me go to notes real quick. Let me go here. Let me see.
I love as you're saying this, somebody is calling me.
Oh.
Actually, if it wasn't one of my client peoples, I would be completely just bring them right on the show and be like, "Hey, pal."
Now,
So,
the other thing it will do, it will give you a preview
mm-hmm.
with Apple Intelligence
Mhm.
if you can run that.
Mm-hmm.
But it will also give you a let me get the I know we need to do that. Okay. There we go. So let me get that off. So you can see it actually labels who's talking here.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, as their name and everything.
Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. Hey.
And it does a pretty good job on, and the nice thing is, just like with that, there's a search feature.
That's cool. Okay.
So if you say, let's say with a client and say, hey, do you mind if I record, let's say you're doing a call instead of a Zoom call, or you're doing an actual call, not a Zoom or, FaceTime or anything else. Say, hey, can I record this so I can keep track of it later?
Mm-hmm.
And they say yes. So you do have a transcript, a searchable transcript that gets put right into your Notes app.
Absolutely. That's I got called out because I think we had a clip from this was announced a few weeks ago, and somebody's like, "Why don't you just take notes like a normal person?" He's like, "Because I'm not a normal person, and I'm neurospicy, and I can't take notes." Okay, so that's what I need. That's where the AI is going to help me out. So, but no, it's going to be helpful for people, and that's also, again, I'm from a place where I hated calls because then I couldn't call somebody out when they didn't do something that they said they were going to do, because now I have no record. Where you might be in a position where you need to protect yourself in your
yes,
in your relationships and employment, perhaps. So, but it's wide open and stuff, and so you're not doing it on the slide or anything like that. So I love that. I love that the Zoom feature does that. I love the summary that it gives me and everything, and that's really helpful as I'm trying to keep my head straight between multiple projects, multiple people you're talking to. Like that's where that's at. My mom could probably use this a lot. We should probably in the chat room. Stuff like that. So, that's very, very cool. Okay, moving on. Did you happen to watch boxing this weekend?
I didn't watch, but I know of the boxing.
You know of the boxing.
I know of the boxing.
You
yes.
missed Tyson's bare ass on Netflix.
Oh, well, no.
I got
Just
that
because
part.
I didn't watch boxing does not mean I did not keep up
Oh,
on it.
yeah, they showed it on
media.
another show I was watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
So, no, trust me, I'm not interested to see Mike Tyson's bare ass.
Listen, I wasn't in a... Listen, I was here in the studio. I was putting stuff together for we had a double shot on Saturday. I was prepping for, but some other stuff I was trying to fix. And as somebody's like, oh, hey, this is on. I'm like, okay, I'll throw it on. I look over and I was like, oh, hey, Mike Tyson. And I was like, oh, Mike Tyson. So, anyways, I reached. So obviously the news is by the time they got to the main event, I was transitioning to the house from the studio, tried to put it on my Apple TV, and it was like not good at all. It looked gross, so chunky during the final fight. But it was fine on my phone. It was fine on, I think it would drop out with an error every once in a while on my laptop and my phone, and you just restart and you're good to go, right? They say about 60 million households globally watch this thing. Live streaming is, I remember when WWE Network started, those first pay-per-views were very glitchy. The first WrestleMania they had on there was very glitchy. They're figuring out how to deal with capacity. And the issue is, preparing for something happening. It is a different thing. You say Netflix, they stream all the time. It's like, but, streaming multiple different things to multiple different people is a different problem to solve than one thing to multiple people, right? And that's what they're figuring out. This is the first time they had this problem. They had some problems technically getting a stream started when they did the, I think it was a Love is Blind thing. Like they had a CDN. It was a settings problem. I literally dealt with the same problem on Saturday night. I'm sure they had it on more expensive equipment than I did. But still. So as I said, live streaming is hard, and Netflix is learning that. Netflix is now following up with 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, including the Steelers. Hey, hometown guys. And Beyonce is going to be the halftime to the Houston game, I think.
Right.
And on top of that, WWE Raw starts on January 6th live on Netflix. A big move there. And actually, they're actually going to get WWE worldwide. Anywhere that Peacock doesn't have it, I think they're picking it up. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see what this. It seems that it would appear that more people watched the Tyson fight than they were prepared for or they anticipated. Good problem to have. Bad if you want to make people assured that their NFL game is not going to be. And you know who's going to be the loudest about this are NFL fans. And second loudest are wrestling fans.
Yeah. But I would say this. Outside of the Super Bowl, I really don't see him hitting 60 million. Though.
This is the largest crowd watching a show outside the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like this is in that realm. WWE's not going to get that.
Oh, not even.
The NFL probably won't get that on Christmas Day. They're going to get no, nothing like that.
No. I'll put it this way. They'll get millions. They'll get tens of millions maybe.
Sure.
But they won't get 60.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at least with the streaming having issues, people are talking about that, not the actual fight itself.
Good, because the fight was terrible.
Yeah.
The women's fight was amazing. And I produced a couple boxing events, and I have trouble staying awake. It's just a lot of dancing. But this one was, it was pretty good. The women's fight was good. It sounds like the other one was pretty good. I halfway watched the one before it because I'm like, prelims, whatever. It's boxing, right? Let's see what Tyson's going to do. And turns out. So we'll see what happens with that. Everybody made their money. It was at Arlington Stadium, which was wild. I thought it was impossible to watch pro wrestling there, but just to watch a boxing event in that giant stadium, it seems even more implausible. You're saying?
Yeah. Well, no, I was wondering because this was just part of Netflix, right? This was not because kind of related to streaming platform, AEW is going to be on Max.
Simulcast with the
but their pay-per-view will be available through Max for an additional charge.
Yes.
Less than what you buy it separately, but still an additional charge. I'm assuming these things on Netflix, not WWE, but like this was just it's just like another thing they're streaming. It's not, and you have to pay an extra $10.
And remember that
live events.
Max already has sports, so they're already in the process of shoring up this problem. If there are any problems, I have not heard anything. And even they say they say they're not ready for pay-per-views yet. So when the technology is ready, as if this is new technology, after all these years, but they need to build it internally. So I get that, I guess. So I got a few follow-up the last special episode that we did when we talked about managing this whole upheaval in social networks. I got a couple tips for you. First of all, we talked about croissant in the past, which one, by the way, is amazing because like I was able to just put out, "Hey, we're live," and post it once across Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Threads. So that was really nice to kind of deal with, although I hit my character limit for Blue Sky, so I need to remember where we're at with that. I'm still learning the app. So if you are looking for something a little broader or more interesting, this is actually brought up. Leo Laporte was talking about this app or this site actually over on This Week in Google last week. This is called micro.blog. This is an open source project, I believe. And it's kind of it's your kind of central micro blogging website. These are a couple test posts that I did earlier. Put one out for the shows that we're doing over the weekend and did a general test post. So everything is kind of nice, and it's kind of this. They have a lot of discussions on there about federated posting, where post once, send everywhere kind of situation. So in here, you can actually send it to, let me get to I think it's sources. So you could send this to even more places. So you could post once, send it to, like we talked about, the Mastodon, Threads, and Blue Sky, but you can also maybe you still have a Tumblr because you live in 2008. Flickr, something called Nostr, Pixel Fed, which sounds familiar. A LinkedIn, Medium. I do not recommend the LinkedIn one because every time I posted it, it was just a text and a link to the post situation. And I guess certain places won't handle it's going to just do that. But if you're just like, I just need to make sure stuff is over there. Like I'm worrying less about Twitter, and I'm just like, well, everything if this then that has everything auto feeding. Instagram set up to repost over to my personal account. That's all I really want. I want an existence, but I don't want to manage. You know what I mean? And I'll speak if spoken to over there, I suppose. So that's one way to deal with that. Since you're just like, where do I go? Well, at least you can like do it here, and then you have a representation on all those platforms if you want to make sure, because you don't know which one's going to win. So I think it's if you're somebody that wants to do an online presence, it's good to kind of have all those open. And if you haven't yet, just a reminder, get your username everywhere, whether you're going to use it or not. Because again, if you're not doing Blue Sky and Blue Sky wins, and that's the thing that everybody ends up going to in the next couple of months, you're going to wish you had that username that you used on the other platform, right? This is probably less so for you and me, but more so for our friends who are like more public facing, like pro wrestlers and things like that. Right. So the more you can keep it one thing. Or
even someone who runs a small business.
Absolutely. Your small business, you should get that locked down everywhere. Yeah. Because the worst thing is,
especially since it doesn't cost anything.
Because the worst thing is, hey, we're this with an underscore over here. Is a tough explanation sometimes when in your marketing department. So keep an eye out for that. Oh, I got a new follower on Blue Sky.
We even seen a couple wrestlers where they have to put the real.
Oh yes, I love is the real when you're like you're the. I actually got to see a little bit of this. So the biggest tip for this week is something called Sky Follower Bridge. Okay, you got your Blue Sky account, and you want to find all those cool people that you followed on Twitter before it became less cool over there. So this is, now I haven't gotten to this. They have a website where you can just kind of pull everything in apparently and do it. So this is a project that you can go in and find your Twitter followers on Blue Sky. It does kind of a match across kind of situation. Now, the cool thing is while there's a wait list for this, you don't have to wait for that necessarily, because you can do, I should have set this up in advance. You can go in and there is look for Sky Follower Bridge in your extension store. I saw this on Edge. I also saw that I used the Firefox version. I presume it will be in the Chrome store as well. So look for this. And then what you do with this, and let me do a live demo. What Twitter am I on? What Blue Sky am I on right now? Let me see. As long as they match, you'll be good to go. So you're going to log into, okay, I'm on my Twitter account for Mayhem Show. No, I'm on my Blue Sky. Here, let's just go to Mayhem Show for this one. And okay, now make sure I'm not in a secret place. So you go in here and you go to your, I want to look at the people I'm following, right? So you're in there, and I log in there just to be safe, but I don't think I necessarily have to. You go into your Sky Follower Bridge. Oh, it's indie wrestling. You know what? Screw it. We'll see what happens. You click this, type in your username and password for your Blue Sky, and what you'll see is you'll start populating this. It starts adding things to your follower list. It goes down the page. It says, hey, same handle name as this one. So like Big Japan Pro Wrestling, for instance, has one there, but looks like they're an egg. Sometimes it doesn't work. Pro Wrestler Joe Murphy, this data editor at NBC News, definitely not the same Joe Murphy.
No.
But if it was, you can click this follow on Blue Sky. Sometimes the people have already followed you, and you can go in there. There's our friends at WNRN Internet Title. Again, I'm in the wrestling side of things. And you can go down here. You know, I know that guy. For instance, Matt Farmer from Defy Wrestling. There's referee Rosie Jones. And you can see, and again, a lot of times, hopefully you're using the same picture across there. Hopefully you got a relatively similar, description. So I especially know who you are. So that's a very, very helpful. Our friend P. Samp with New Fear City, for instance. This is interesting. So I looked at the New Fear City, which is their wrestling company, and then pulled up his personal one, which also tags New Fear City. So it's doing like kind of a quick search. It doesn't always match up across the board, but in the meantime, it's a good to get you started and bring some more of those people in that maybe you weren't going to find on your own. And you get to a certain point here, and there's a button, or you go into this and go find again, and it kind of reinitializes it. So that was really cool. You can do this. Apparently, you can also do this with your block list. And your following list,
which they're very good on the block.
That is, I love there are groups. They're like, here's all the groups of under this topic, and you're like, I could follow all those. Also, I can block every single person on that list if I don't like that topic and the people that talk about it. Again, this is that mental health cleansing I recommend everybody does on social media, right? Like, you need to make sure, and to the argument is, oh, you just don't want to be part of the discussion. It's like, no, I want to not have an argument every time I open this app. And just see things that piss me off. Like, you're here for a conversation, and in certain topics, it's not going to actually be a conversation. Right. As we say on fishing, real quick, as we say on Fishing Without Bait, you do not have to take the invite to an argument party. You're very familiar with that, Dave.
Yes.
As the clip editor over a Fishing Without Bait.
Yes, that is very true. And that's kind of, honestly, as I'm clipping Fishing Without Bait, sometimes it's kind of therapy for me.
It's therapy for all of us. Trust me.
Yes.
That has kept me from having to go to therapy, is doing that podcast every week. So,
but one thing, is, like you said, some people may say, oh, you're only trying to be in a bubble with people think like you.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily, but there are people out there who are just there to not really
piss people off.
Exactly. They're there to piss people off to get engagement because, oh, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not adding anything.
Some people just want to watch the internet burn, and you don't need to be a part of that. And that's what I'm talking about as far as cleansing, that kind of stuff. So you can take with that how you will, however you want to shape your internet experience. Again, I think when people are like, oh, this place is a cesspool, I shouldn't be here anymore, as long as you're not so high of a public figure, I think it should be relatively manageable. It depends on how much you put yourself out there, too, I suppose, too. And the issue, and the issue with Twitter is a lot of those tools that make it more manageable are going away. And that's the problem, right? If you can't manage the social network to not piss you off every day, if you decide you don't want to be a pissed off person every day, and those tools go away, or you decide you don't want people harassing you,
right? And it honestly, for me, it's a safety issue also.
Yes.
Because there are people out there who have to block people because they're being stalked, or their exes who were violent, and they cut off, but they want to really cut off. and I'm blocking you.
but
And
but
now
not
it's,
entirely
well,
crawl into a hole.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. You want you, but now Twitter's block is you can't interact, but they can still view your posting.
yeah, which is like, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't get into that and the ills of that and the personalities behind it. But we want to be a happy show. That's why it's the Awesome Cast. So, Dave, I'm happy you've been on here. Thank you.
And now I'm happy to be here and talk to you.
Sharing
Sorg.
your I almost said astrotherapy. You know what? Maybe that is a thing. Is there just a therapy of looking in the stars?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I would say there's especially if you get out there, like if you get away from a city.
Absolutely. Dark skies. I was being told about a dark sky park up in the I think about up the upper mitt of Michigan. Somebody was telling me about. We were down there in Key Largo, and I was like, oh, we're like on the edge of being far enough away from Miami to be able to see all this stuff, over the ocean and everything. So,
and honestly, that just being out there, or if you want to take pictures, taking pictures and then developing, and I shouldn't say developing, editing them, that can be therapy just to relax yourself.
That's a video editing for me is relaxing.
Yeah.
Like going through the process is relaxing for me. Whether it be what we do with this show, whether it be, that's one thing I love about doing the Thursday night shows is like I get to do this like every week, and get to enjoy that process. It is kind of, I don't know, therapy, but it's calming. It's centering of sorts for me. I thought real quick, I'll share with you for the video. I did a little bit of moon shots while we were on the Fort Lauderdale beach. Actually, I guess it was Hollywood Beach technically. We were by the Margaritavillas resort. We were looking for something to eat before our plane and back and everything. And I was really happy. This is the 16 Pro Max. Kind of out over the ocean there. It's dark. It is pretty damn dark. That one's a little more fuzzy, but you get the idea. It was also very windy, so it was very hard to. That's one Katie took. I think she did a little bit of work on that one. That was nice. And
also looking at the palm trees, they were like the one before that. The palm trees were all like sideways.
Oh, very, very windy.
Oof.
And then that did not hold still very well. It was pretty excessive. So to the point where you have this giant phone, so you're just kind of like I feel like I have a sail.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much. iPhoneography podcast. Go check out all the conversations going on over there about taking photos with your phone.
Yep.
iPhone and all.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much mostly iPhone.
Yes.
But, when we go into general tips, that's general photography.
You can learn a lot from that. At Sorgatron on your social medias, you can see my travels from the last several weeks, including Cleveland this past weekend with our friends at NWA Exodus Pro. You can watch that show actually back for free. It was over on the YouTube channel for the NWA. That's the National Wrestling Alliance, not the other thing I will not pronounce from the rap group. So don't. Hey, I've missearched it multiple times. Make sure you say NWA Wrestling when you do the search. But anyways, thank you guys so much. We are back with this. We'll probably take a minute and do a little bit of Patreon here. We'll see if my special guest in the studio will want to hop in on that maybe. Since she stopped in during the show here. So thank you guys so much. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.
Yeah, it sounded like there was some construction problems. They changed up the lines. They have a temporary one.
That makes sense. We saw 3 trains coming through, and we're like, "That's not right." And my wife was like, "That's not efficient." I'm like, "There's probably a reason if it's going down that way."
Yeah, it's a little bit miserable.
So we are recording. We are on Patreon. Technically, we're still live with Patreon too. If there's anybody happens to be out there from our friends out there,